Okay, hello and welcome back to Carry On Milton Keynes, where we are into the last round of the day on the Winter Matchplay. Phil Robertshaw is leading the tournament and he is playing Rick Kennedy now on the live stream. I can't see the board at the moment, but I can see 5 tiles on Phil's rack. He's got VIL. Oh, we can see all of them now. Phil has VILRNIT as his opening rack. No bonus, unless I'm very much mistaken. I would be thinking of something like VIRL, VIRL, probably the I on the centre star. Ridley would score 20. Vril would score 14. Vril is the play. 14 has been played downwards. I'm not a player who likes a downward play, but there's not really a lot of difference. Rick has interesting tiles. I'm wondering if there's a word apogamic, but he can't play it because he doesn't have the C for it. So Rick has no 7, and there is only one possible 8 out of that rack, which is apogamic. So he will be looking to balance this rack and score some points. That's always the mission, is to score as much as you can, but try and keep the rack balanced. He could play something like, he's got Igapo, which would leave AM, which would be a nice leave. Igapo is only going to play from I9 down, I think, which would be about 13 points. He could play something like Gapo, keeping AIM. That would be from G8. And I'm struggling a little bit. Let's see if... I wonder if we can see some Quackle options to see if there's anything that scores a bit more. Opa for 17, Agami for 19. Yeah, there's no massive scoring plays. OPA for 17 is not bad. Ogam for 18 has been played by Rick. WURTING, don't think there's a 7. There won't be any 8s on this board either. And in fact, there's no 8s at all possible with that rack. So again, we're looking for a scoring play here. This is tricky. Yeah, this is difficult because the immediate thing that you'd be looking to get rid of would be the W and the U. And it's not immediately obvious to me how that's going to be accomplished here. Something like GU maybe for a mere 15 points, making Gal and It's a horrible board already, and we're only 2 moves in. You can play something like GUN for 14. I'm wondering if I'm missing anything here that's any better. GNU for 21. Wart has been played, WORT. So Phil has decided to get rid of the W at the expense of keeping the. It doesn't look too bad for his rack. I'm going to stick my neck out and say that Rick doesn't have a bonus. I think he would have one with an S, but I don't think he's got one with the 7 tiles that he's got, or with anything that's on the board. Yeah, if there was an S available, he'd have Parousia, but he hasn't got that. He could play something making Alp. He's a bit vowel heavy here. He needs to get rid of some vowels. He especially needs to get rid of an A because he's got 2 of them. Something like Opa, but that does keep the U. I'm not that. Ooper, maybe. Ooper from 10F or from 6C. Topi 21 is coming out top on Quackle. I think I prefer Ooper. I don't like the two A's. Power, P-A-U-A, is the play, which leaves O-R-I. Does score. Well, it's relatively to what else is on the rack. Right. So I don't think Phil's got any bonus options here. He will be looking, I think, to get rid of his fur. GIRM would not be a bad leave. Again, I'm struggling for options. Fun for 11. Yeah, he's got two N's, not two R's. I was reading that wrong. He's got two N's, so getting rid of FUN would be best. But he's played Furan, so he's got rid of an R as well. So he's left himself ING, which is not too bad. Rick's rack is not very good. He's got far too many 8. I'm just wondering about something. No, that's not a word. He's got something like Raya, R-A-Y-A, but that would leave him all vowels. May even be worth a change here. He does have options to score. You can get 26 for a simple AY. Oh, Yartha for 30. It's a possibility, but it looks like he's changed. I think if I'd spotted Yartha, I would play Yartha, even though it does put you in potential trouble later on. But a change is not unreasonable, I don't think. Phil has the opposite problem. He has too many consonants. I think with an A, he'd have Granting. But there's no A available. He'd have Trending, obviously, with an E. It's Dung, really, isn't it? It is Dung. Dung plays for D from D11 for 6 points. Drift will at least score something from C9. That would be 22. That would be better than a change, I think. But not Grind for 20 as well is another possibility. Done. Done has been played. It doesn't score a lot, but you know it did leave a better rack lead than the scoring options did. But I think I'd have taken the score there. Rick now has some very nice letters. He has the Pratesi variations. He's pirates, trapes, parties, piasta, 2 spellings of. He's got PAL there. He could put a P on the end of that for pulp and pirates, but he would be opening a 9 timer if he did that. There are options with that rack. He's going to get a bonus of some variety. The difficulty here, the letters are so nice. Spotting the best one. Aspired plays from 13G. That would get the P on the double letter. Just looking at done, is there any way of getting the P on that triple letter under done and getting a double word? And the answer is we're going to find out in a minute because Quackle is working on it. Our prize for 77 at 13G. Okay, yep, so that gets the... that's in the same spot as Aspired. So there's nothing better than 77. You can get a prize, Aspired, Aspirer, Aspires. Lots of different options to score 77. But I'm sure what Rick is taking the time over here is he thinks he must have something better than that, and he's just making sure that he plays the best move he can with this rack because it's a very nice rack. And getting another look at the players here. I can pretty much assure you at this moment that Rick is not sitting looking for a bonus. He knows he's got bonuses. He's just looking for the best one. Phil looks slightly fed up, and I think with that rack, with the board as it currently is, you would be fed up with that rack, I think. Will Rick give him an opportunity? Aspired has been played. Don't fill out. So Rick moves clear by 72 points. There's only one possible 8. Phil has this rack and doesn't fit on this board. It's not a difficult word. It's greeting. So what does Phil do this time? I think it's 2 Gs that are the big problem here. So you get Gs in a way that scores. Sorry, the 2 Gs in a way that scores with difficulty, I would say. Gig for 9 is a possibility, but it's not great. Scoring possibilities are not high here. I'm wondering about something like Ig from 14B. It only scores 16, but it's a you know, you could play Ting from 12L. That would score 19. What you're looking to do with this rack, really, you can't score. Quackle likes dung for 6. Just keep the RETING. And actually, Gam scores 6 as well, and that is what Phil has played. Yeah, there were no real scoring options there with that rack, so it was a matter of leading the best lead he could. And it looks like he's set himself up, hopefully, for a bonus next time with the letters he now has. Rick's best play is WAAH for 39 from 12L, but that's not what he's played. He's played Haw for 35. Again, we see Rick take some time over a move and then make a quick play. Phil has treeing, integer. Where are these going to play? Treeing plays at 14A, making June and Nag. He also has tearing. Treeing will play. It is the only playable bonus. 79 points from 14A. And Treeing's gone down. Has 75 been declared? Because I've got a note there saying 75. The score Quackle is giving it is 79. Meanwhile, Rick has no 7, and the only 8 he has doesn't fit. With a T, there is a T in a 9 timer spot. He would have the possibility of outtaken, but that T is not in the correct position. I'm wondering about something like maybe Kuta here, Kuta, leaving tone on his rack. You can play Kuta from A12 down, it scores 39. Nag, as well as taking an S on the end, takes an A on the end of it. So there's a possibility of playing something there, but I think Kuta from 12A. And Quackle seems to like that as well as an equity play, at least. Quackle likes Kuta, and Kuta is the play. Fairly confident there's no 7 for Phil this time. B's are horrible. I'd probably get rid of both of them if at all possible. Perhaps taking that Naga spot, 21, 22, 24, 26 for Naga and Ab, which would leave TRD, which is not the best. Something like Blab maybe at 11I. That scores 32, and that's what's been played. Rick has, I think Rick may have blocked his 9 timer with his previous move, if I'm right. Yeah. If Kuta wasn't there, Rick would now have confetti to go down, but he doesn't. There is no T available to play off. There is no 7, I believe. Just going to confirm that there is no 7, and the only available 8 would have been Confetto with a T in the right spot. Meanwhile, over the other side, Phil has an interesting rack. He's got the J and the Z. Looking for options for Rick. It's not easy. It's not an easy board now. The priority will probably be to get rid of the F and 1 or both of the O's. Quackle is playing Fog for 13. It really is that bad that Quackle thinks Fog's the best option for 13, and that's what's been played. Now, in other circumstances, this might be a good rack for Phil. On this board, I'm not so sure. Priority for me would be to score with the J or the Z. Sizey 53. It does use the S. I was looking not to use the S. It does use the S, but it's worth doing it for the point. It looks as though Sitz has been played. I think Sizey's better. But then I hadn't spotted Sizey to begin with, so perhaps that's why Phil's there and I'm not. But yeah, I think Sizey would have been better than Sitz. Very difficult board now. It's a good board to be ahead on, but Phil is only 2 ahead, so there's not a lot in it. It's very tight. This tight board, tight game. There's no 7, but there's 8s with this rack, but they're not going to fit anywhere. Not on this board. Looking at this, the U is the main problem here. I'm wondering if it's worth just playing the U off here. I don't like the C much on this board either. I'm not seeing anywhere he can play with the U off. Noetic for 33. Might be original. Cunei is the play. Looks at it. There's a couple of examples there of words that don't take S's. Noetic doesn't take an S. Cunei doesn't take an S. Phil now, he's still got the JY combination, which is not particularly helpful. He's got Jared. I don't see it playing at the moment. He could play something like Jury. That would still leave him with 2 eyes. Jury would score 28. Yeah, I don't like the lead of Jury very much. But there may not be a better option. Always the... there's plays through unconnected letters there. Deify or edify would have been possible. Jin has been played for J-I. That is a partial setup because Phil has a D. He's also picked the second blank as well. He's just used his J, but with the J on his rack, he has the possibility of Joyride. But he probably wouldn't be looking to play that because that would leave the word hanging over a triple word square. So he probably won't be looking to do that. Looking at Rick's rack now, he's got Oxy. Oxy does play for 29 from 14M. That would open the board up further. It might be worth doing because Rick will be thinking that Phil has played Jin because he's got a D. So logically, if Rick can't use that spot because he doesn't have a D of his own, if he opens up another spot, it takes away some of the advantage that Phil's just given himself. Looking for a Quackle simulation now. Toyo for 21 at 14L. That's not bad, and it sets the X up. Quackle won't be thinking in terms of the fact that Phil's just set himself up, but it will be thinking Toyo sets up the X spot next time. It will be suggesting that Toyo move as a setup for the X the following move. And I think Rick might be thinking along those lines as well, because as I say, he knows that what Phil has just done is set himself up. Or he will at least strongly suspect that he set himself up. Toyo would not be bad. Doesn't score as much as Oxy. It doesn't score as much as Ayot from 14k. But as I've said, it's just about setting that. It's about setting that X up. And Rick's having another one of these long turns. You get tournament Scrabble players of varying speeds. And I think, as I mentioned in the last game, Rick is a player who can play very fast. He's also a player who can slow it down. So you never quite know where you are, what's going to happen. As I mentioned, Phil has a possibility of Joyride on his rack. What would be fun would be if Rick plays this Toyo, setting up the X spot, and then Phil plays Joyride and leaves it hanging over the triple word score. But AOTS has gone down from Rick. Let's go see what else there is out of this rack that Phil has, because I've been totally sort of sometimes when you see a word you can't stop seeing that one word. And in fact, Joyride is the only playable 7 with that rack. Even though there's a blank on it, there is only one playable 7. There is only one 7 from the rack. Decisory would go down for Joyride. Decisory would be 64. It's not worth sacrificing points. I don't think so. I think I would expect Joyride to be played. I don't think Decisory is worth sacrificing 30 points for. And it looks like Joyride has been played. And there are a number of hooks on that, but none of them are on Rick's rack at the moment. Rick has no 7s. The only possible 8 he has is Attorney, and it doesn't fit on this board. As I say, he doesn't have a hook to go on the end of Joyride. He doesn't have the S or the R. Okay, just looking at that. Okay, that's a correction to Rick's previous move. Rick's previous move was EXO, and this time he's played IOT, EYOT. Apologies, I hadn't noticed that had changed before. So Rick has played EYOT this time, and played EXO last time. Now, Phil has the Q. He could play quad 39, and he has played quad 39. Now, Rick is in that position of having all 1 tiles. He does have a bonus. I hadn't spotted it myself. I've looked it up. He has Santals. It's not massively high probability with the 2 S's and the 2 A's in there. I'm always slightly disappointed when I don't see a word myself, because I have done all the 7s and 8s, but there are so many of them that it is difficult to stay on top of them all. Joyrides an ST is a possibility. That would be 39, and that's what's been played. Now I wonder whether Rick missed the bonus, or whether he possibly turned down the bonus, took less points, thinking that he'll get a bonus later. So back to Phil, who doesn't have anything playable in the way of bonuses here, I don't think. He would need an S, a Z or a T, and he doesn't have any of those letters in the correct places. He would have done had Rick played Santal, the previous move. Yeah, Rick had played Santals. So Deifier comes up again. That was given as a possibility on an earlier rack. But what has been played is XO. DE has been used. I'm not sure I like that because it keeps the two eyes. But there are no... Yeah, I'm not sure about that. So we're back to Rick. And Rick has another bonus on his rack. Again, for speed's sake, I'm using Ziziva to look these up. There is only 1 7, and it doesn't seem to play on his board. He's got Salomon. So he's not having. I would be looking to get rid of. There's a lot of vowels to come. There's half and half by the looks of it. Letters to come. It's difficult. MO. No, I'll be looking to get rid of MA or MAO. So something like Ma and well, that sort of takes out a bonus. It does take out a bonus lane. So, but he does have that S. He does have the S. So Ma and for 21 would get him within 30 points and leave a strongish rack. Oma possibly in that spot, but it's only 2 more points because. Michael says Coleman for 19, leaving 1 in the bag. Ma is on the list, but it's down in 6th place. But it is the play. He has played Ma. So Quackle only considers that the 6th best move. 2 expert players, myself and Rick, have considered that the best move. So whose opinion are you going to take? 2 expert players or Quackle? Quackle every time, probably. So Phil is ahead. What Phil will not be doing here is emptying the bag. So he will be looking to play less than 5 tiles, certainly. He will probably want to get rid of the V. He's 40 clear. I can see violet, but not scoring that much. But it does block any potential of a 9-letter word ending in et, ending in let. And there are 2 from Phil's perspective. There is an L unseen. So Quackle says Vivo for 20 from 6H. That doesn't look too bad. Vivo doesn't take an S. So it's blocking that S spot. Vild has been played. I don't think that's as good a move as Vivo would have been. Rick has Enhalos, and it plays on the end of Warped. So Rick has a bonus here that will go down. He won't perhaps like the look of the unseen, because the unseen suggests that Phil might have something. And Halos has gone down. There's CE left in the bag. Just looking at it, there is a winning play here. Yes, there is a winning play here for Phil. I'd spotted here into, but I've had to use I've used Elizabeth to look up the anagram of here into, which will play, and it will play win. Nothing with that E at the top. So the anagram of here into is Etherion, and it goes down from 3H. And I'm guessing it's the only winning play. A non-bonus will win this. Looks as though Etherion has gone down on the board and Phil has won the game. Rick is complaining to Jessica. So Phil wins the game 491 to 425. Good to know what the story of that game was, really. That JIN play was crucial in the end. And it was a strange situation that he played the J, and then it was in a situation where the only player bonus the next move, he had to use the blank as another J. From that point on, he was ahead. Vil, not the strongest, allowed Rick to get his bonus down. But Phil managed to bonus out to win the game.